Juan. And we're live. How you doing, everybody? It is the chief. Jesus Christ! Do you have to do that every time? Seriously, I'm trying to do an introduction here. Come on. I'm not in the mood for this kind of shit right now. God's sake, just don't do that. All right. How's it going, everybody? It's your boy, and with me is two very rude people. Whoops! I just had a boomer moment then. How you doing, Chicago?
Pretty good, although I don't like people.
What you know, you guys shouldn't be doing that. Oh, was it you being a troublemaker now? Was it, Al?
Yeah, but like Chicago, I did that yesterday or whatever when I entered. Yeah, don't do that.
I am apologise, Chicago. And now with the person who ruins everything with his horrible noises, Alkazai. How you doing?
I'm fine.
Good. Now today we've got some interesting things to say about the things that have been going on. So, you guys, what's been going on in the world recently that you want to discuss? Yeah, go explain that to the layman, me, because I haven't really been following it because the Democrats are not interesting. So.
Yeah, so there's a report released privately in late 2018. Bernie Sanders said to Elizabeth Warren when commenting about her potential run for president. Elizabeth claimed Bernie said openly with the presidency. And that's probably not true because for 30 years Bernie Sanders has been an ardent feminist, supporting abortion rights, yada 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 you can say. So I find it very hard to believe Bernie would ever say that. The only context I could ever think he would say that is that it's probably very hard for a woman to become president because they face a unique set of challenges, yada yada, SJW bullshit. But I don't think Bernie ever said this, and anybody who believes this is a fucking liar.
If anything, I can see Warren saying that as a complaint. Like, oh, women can't do this because of the patriarchy and stuff like that. Never mind the fact that, Hillary nearly got close.
Yeah, she definitely was.
But you have to win in the electoral college because it's not actually a democracy; it's a republic. That's what you're wrong, kiddo. It actually is better because if you had it by the popular vote, all the big mass. Well, yeah, all the big populous city, all the big cities would just vote for whoever they want to vote for, and the rural communities would have no say. Pretty much, yeah. It's not the same as Britain where it's 60 million people, much more spread out. I mean, look, London's got one of the biggest populations in the entire country, it's like tens of millions of people. They still cannot affect the country in terms of votes. Because of the way our country is kind of spread out, and as it's much more smaller. But in America, it's a bit different.
But also you vote on the constituent level, and much bigger than the constituent level.
Yeah, counties, right? Like counties for us is like the second biggest, I think.
Yeah, we don't have counties are an administrative body.
It's like,
There's also they're basically just really big cities.
so you know what this?
The UK is also the legislative branch, and the executive for the US is its own branch.
Also, like, I think Warren's doing this just to try and drum up a bit of hate towards Bernie, so she can get some extra points. That's basically what it is.
Backfire.
I mean, she's one of the most. Why should anybody believe a word she says anyway? She's one of the most dishonest politicians in America at the moment.
That's not a very hard thing.
True, yeah,
It really isn't.
it's true.
Anyways, I'm gonna actually have to go and skedaddle for a little while because I've got to pick up my sister. Then I'm gonna be driving over to my mom's place.
Sure thing.
I'll still go and be in the chat though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you have something important to say, you might say it. Okay, perfect.
So,
I said might. It doesn't mean yes.
so where is Warren anyway? Is she third place or something, or is she fourth?
She's probably. It depends on what state. Actually,
Hang on a sec. We have technical issues. Apparently, nobody can hear you, which is weird because they should be able to hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Hang on a sec.
polling average.
Hang on a sec. Let me sort this out.
So nobody heard my explanation.
Nobody can hear you, which is weird. They should be able to hear you. That does not make sense. Hang on a sec. Let me just go into my Discord thing and sort this out. We've had no issues. The settings are exactly the same. Hang on a sec. Maybe it's Discord. No, they can barely hear you. Apparently.
Oh, they can barely hear. Oh, turn me up.
I'm turning. Well, you're nearly at 100, so I don't know what. That's unusual. I don't know what.
I could do this.
Yeah, but that's gonna really. What the hell is wrong with this? That should not be an issue. I'm gonna listen back to this. Hang on a sec, guys. I need to know what's wrong with this. Shh. No, hang on. Yeah, you are really quiet. Yeah, I can hear that. That shouldn't happen though. Maybe if I turn up my headphones 100%, that might work. Shouldn't really be an issue because it's just desktop audio. Shouldn't have a
I'm not doing anything different than I usually do.
volume mixer. Let's have a look. Keep an eye on the chat.
You can hear me fine, right?
Yeah. Discord's all the way up. Let's have a look. Just gonna.
Nuclear politics.
Maybe I'll just go on Discord and just reset to defaults. See if that works. Right.
Here, let me listen to myself speak.
And then we'll go back to that. And that should fix it. Let's have a look.
Oh yeah, I can't hear me. That's okay.
Let's have a look. We've never had this issue before. I've not changed the settings in any way. So, yeah, why are you so quiet?
I don't know. Here, let's check now. Chat, can you hear me?
Maybe it's your end. But then again, Chicago had it as well. So it can't just be...
Can't just be me.
It has to be me then. I've nothing. I've not changed it. Right, let's try that. We've never had this issue before. I've not changed the settings in any way.
Oh my.
So,
Yeah, I'm listening to the
yeah,
live stream.
why are
right
you
now.
so quiet?
I don't know. Here, let's check now. Chat, can you hear me?
Alright, that should fix it.
Right.
Unless maybe it's your end. But then again, Chicago had it as well. So it can't just be... Right. It has to be me then.
Ooh.
Say something. Keep saying something.
Say something, I'm giving
Alright, let's
up
try
on you.
We've never
Alright, could you hear that, Chatty Watty?
changed the settings in any way.
Oh my.
So. Right, here we go.
Yeah, I'm listening to the live
Why
stream.
are you
right
so
now.
quiet? Let's have a listen. Sorry guys, we're trying to fix this audio issue.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe it's your end. But then again, Chicago had it as well. So it can't just be... Right. It has to be me then.
Ooh.
Say something. Keep saying something.
Say something, I'm giving up.
Alright, I can hear you now.
Alright, you fixed it. You fixed
I
it.
fixed it, yeah. Hey, we fixed it.
Yeah, alright. So, while that was happening, I got the Real Clear Politics polling average up, and Biden is in the lead, Sanders is in second, and Warren is in third.
God, imagine how bad your bloody political party is when Joe Biden is the guy who's literally like your front runner.
Yeah, Biden's. To be fair, it's starting to tighten more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, Yang is polling above Amy Klobuchar right now,
So how long
and
have they
Yang didn't
got
even
left?
make it into the last debate.
How long have they got left anyway to fix all to get the nominee? Because it's in November.
No,
right?
they got
So-
till. No, they got till June. Party conventions in June.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when they
Oh,
finally
God.
decide. I think
Yeah,
it will be Biden.
but
I don't
The
think
caucus.
he's been
It'll be.
he's been
Biden,
pretty
probably.
much within first place to about second consistently,
Yeah, but to be
From what
fair,
I've
most
seen.
of the time the front runner doesn't win,
except for Hillary.
except for Hillary.
But she
Yeah,
was
a lot
one
of times.
two, wasn't she? Or at least three. I don't know.
There was originally 5. It
Hmm.
was Lincoln Chafee, Martin O'Malley, Bernie Sanders, and another guy.
I don't think he's going to get elected. I don't think he'll even be front run. I don't think he'll even be the nominee because I think
Bernie?
people will look at him. Yeah, they'll look at him and go health issues because he's nearly
Yeah.
80. He's had a heart attack. Do you
And
want that?
Trump
for-
is nearly 80, isn't he?
True, but he seems to be in good condition so far anyway that we know of. And
He's obese.
I wouldn't say he's obese. That's not
Well,
obese. He's tubby, but he's not obese.
Yeah.
He's doing better than others. So
Hold on. Okay. Oh yeah. It's I still think Warren has a decent chance. Maybe it depends. We just have to see how everybody performs in Iowa.
it depends.
And honestly,
It depends if she can motivate the far left because she's trying to
Yeah.
she's trying to
she is.
she's trying to appease both, but especially them, and I just don't think she has it.
Because the thing is, the fundamental difference between Warren and Bernie is that Bernie is a socialist and Warren is still a capitalist. She's just a
Ish.
social democrat.
Well, social democrats are socialists, so they're not really capitalist. Not in the
No,
traditional sense.
I would still consider
no.
capitalist.
The Labour Party are technically that, but they're clearly not. So I wouldn't say.
No,
I don't
just
think
because
any
Tony
of those-
Blair removed socialism from the party constitution doesn't mean there still aren't commies.
Exactly. I mean, Labour used to be part of the Second International, so there's that. But
Oh, aren't they still?
no, the Second International was in the 1910s.
Oh.
Remember, there was four of them. There was four of them. So, or
Oh, yeah,
six,
sorry.
something like that. But it doesn't really matter. They've had to change throughout the years, and now they've gone back to the 1980s in terms of like policy, and now they're having their own leadership election, which I find fascinating. Both of the
Rebecca
two.
Long Bailey, your MP, is actually contending.
I can't
I've-
stand her. Look,
I don't
nothing,
know.
if they vote for her, nothing will change because she's just Corbyn's protege.
Is she a Corbynista too?
Yeah, she's from Momentum. That kind
What's
of
the proper term? Corbynite or Corbynista?
It's both. It depends what you want to use. Corbynista's the cool, flashy name for the Momentum types, but Corbynite, I guess, is for whoever really.
I
Yes,
feel like
Dirk says
Corbynista-
capitalist in name only. So, but like, I honestly, I don't care who they get. They're not going to win an election anytime soon, anyway. Thankfully, so.
Well, are all the Blairites just gonna go to like the Liberal Democrats?
Yeah, but what I don't like is that they call these people centrists. They're not centrists. They're not even centre left. Like Blair was clearly not on the centre at all. He just campaigned on it. But that doesn't mean that once in power that he himself was.
Wait, Blair's not a centrist?
No, he's clear. He's really not. No, he's really not. When you actually look into what he did in the, in terms of
Was he a neoliberal?
policy, yeah, but he was also quite far left in many issues. Like
Okay, that's
immigration,
Catholic.
education, stuff like that. There were some
Quite
things.
far
that
left for a Catholic, actually.
well, just look at the Sandinistas, which is where you get the term Combinista from. They were Catholic communists.
Who the Sandinistas? What the
Yeah,
fuck?
in
Let me Google
thingy
this.
in Nicaragua. Well, I could just tell you who they were.
Sandinista. Okay.
They were just like Marxist revolutionaries in Nicaragua, I think. It was.
Ideology.
Yeah, and they were
Sandinismo, Christian left. Okay.
Christian far left, I would say. I mean, there's always been Christian socialists, and they're not all Protestant. Like
Yeah.
Karl Marx was talking about them in the Communist Manifesto. Like,
Were they distributists?
distributists. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, well, they would be, wouldn't they? If they're
Well, to be fair, distributism is just socialism but Catholic.
which makes you wonder why the distributist, the YouTuber, is against communism. But okay.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah, that's
Catholic
weird.
distributist. Yeah. But hey, ideology
Whatever,
is weird.
don't question
it. Just consume neo-reactionary product.
Consume. Oh, dude, the consume subreddit is like far right, but I love to use the consume meme on them. But it's
Yeah.
like, whoa, we're not consuming.
Well, they consume
It's your-
they consume their own product.
Yeah, they do.
So
Neo far right reactionary.
But the thing is, with the Labour election, though, there's only like 3 front runners. Well, and there's none of the other ones are really important. Like, there's one guy who was like, "We need to."
What about Diane Abbott? Chicago told me she was running.
I don't think she is.
Aw.
I'll have to have a look, but I don't think she is. If she is, she won't win. She did last time and lost, so that's good. She will never win. Even the Labour Party knows she's terrible. She's just
But
a
the
waste
Hippo of
space.
London won't succeed. Don't tell me it isn't so.
Like Rebecca Bailey on Twitter just now was like, I'm going to be the first Labour leader who's a woman and stuff like that. Yeah, but you're not going to be the first female prime minister though.
Yeah, Margaret Thatcher took that spot.
And then there was
The Iron Lady, may she rest in peace.
And then there was May as well. So you can't really use your gender.
We don't like to
As-
talk about Theresa.
Well, what I'm saying is you can't use her gender to convince Labour supporters that they should vote
Yeah, I feel
for
like
her.
the first.
And then she was saying she's working class, but I don't buy that for a second. Yeah, you may
don't
be
buy
from
that.
Salford, that doesn't make you working class. There are
The
very
thing
nice
is-
areas.
I feel like this first female president of the United States is probably going to be a Republican at this point because the
Of course it
Dems
is.
cannot
It
get
seems-
out of identity politics.
It seems to be the case that the parties that aren't really interested in identity politics tend to be the ones where people are more diverse. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, the Republican January debates were more diverse than the Democratic debates in January.
Indeed, yeah. It's very
Yeah,
interesting. how that
Republican
works.
Party had 3 non-white people: Bobby Jindal, Ben Carson. No, not Bobby Jindal. Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio.
2 Latinos, 1
2
African American.
Latinos. Yeah, and to be fair, they had Bobby Jindal too for a little while.
What's
who
he?
was Indian.
Oh, I know who that
He
guy
grew
is.
up Hindu. He grew up Hindu, but he converted to Catholicism when he was in college.
That's not
Probably because he's from Louisiana.
Louisiana.
I bet that had something to do with it.
Hmm.
But it would be really funny if the first female president would be Nikki Haley because she's also Indian.
Oh yeah, she must be an Anglo-Indian with that kind of name.
No, she's she married a guy named Haley.
Oh, but her name's Nikki, so.
No, Nikki's a nickname.
Oh,
Her
right.
real name's something else.
Oh,
Nikki means, I think, little one in Hindi.
little one. She must be little then.
She was the youngest child.
Aw. But what's interesting is in Virginia, the Democrats have not only alienated the Boogaloo. Yeah, but the Boogaloo has been weird because not only have the Democrats completely alienated the right, they've alienated the far left. Antifa's going to protest on the side of the NRA.
Because they believe in gun rights, even though they don't know how to properly handle a gun.
Does he actually believe in gun rights? I don't believe that.
Yes,
Bloody hell, that's mental.
they're communists. Most far left people believe gun.
Well, they do until they take power, then nobody can have a gun. Because otherwise, how do you
Yeah.
keep the dictatorship in power? But
Mhm.
good on them at least for supporting these people for once and getting rid of factionalism. Crazy that. So what's going on in Virginia though? Do you know?
Virginia passed a law that would take away a lot of people's guns. It doesn't outright ban guns, but it bans a certain type of gun that people aren't happy about. I don't know the exact
Is
details,
this
but that's
the
roughly along those
perennial
lines.
assault weapon thing, which is nonsense?
Maybe it might.
What even isn't an assault weapon? What they really mean is a semi-automatic rifle, but an M1 Garand's a semi-automatic rifle. So
Yeah.
is that?
And you
not an
can
assault
own that
weapon?
legally.
Yeah.
Nuance Bro actually had a very good video about what they mean by assault weapons ban, and he showed off a bunch of guns he had from like World War II. He's like, "This is a Soviet era, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Oh, I don't even care what you're talking about anymore. I just want to see the gun."
That's VT. I think I know what he's referring to. Yeah, if it's semi-auto, and it looks vaguely like an M16, they think that's an assault rifle. When that ain't necessarily so.
Well, assault rifle doesn't even have a proper definition.
I think it's meant to be something that can go single shot and also burst or full auto. But AR-15s are not full auto. But obviously the M16 is part of the AR family, but it's completely different to your average AR-15 that you would get in like any normal gun store. It's completely different.
Are AR-15s legal in Missouri? Let me look it up.
I'd rather not have the type in, but
Hold on.
apparently they're trying to ban big scary guns. Now what is this big scary guns?
No, they might as well just write a law that say no big scary black guns.
But then they'll just end up banning handguns. That's what happened over here. They banned all this made it very difficult for you to get a rifle and a shotgun, and then they banned handguns and stuff like that.
What guns are you allowed to own in the UK?
That's the thing with as Bill Whitaker says in the chat, like genuine assault rifles, your M16s, your M4s that haven't been converted to single shot, have been banned for years. You can't get a full auto, so this is nothing more than them
So
using.
you just get like a
language
shotgun
games.
and that's it.
No, you can actually buy AR-15s around here. I think I had this Business Insider article that explained what you could get. Some interesting weapons you can get in Britain if you have the license. For
Oh yeah,
it.
by the way, there was a law proposed last year in Missouri that would require everybody to own an AR-15.
I support this law. Well, obviously you have to be a certain age, you know.
Yeah, you have to be like proven not to be stupid or whatever.
They basically want to turn you into Switzerland. That's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but nothing happened to it. I was really excited though, because like my parents would have to own
So
an
when's this
AR-15,
protest then in Virginia? 'Cause
and my mother is actually against the Second Amendment.
Well, I don't think you should be. By the way, there was a video that.
Oh, I'm not.
There's a video about the right to bear arms that came out by a guy called Scholar Gladiatori. You should check him out. He usually does medieval hand-to-hand weapons, HEMA type stuff, but sometimes he does firearms. And he was talking about the right to bear arms. It actually comes the modern usage as we know it actually comes from the 1689 Bill of Rights in our country. In my
I
country.
know.
Yeah, I knew that, and I've been trying to tell Americans that for years. They just don't listen. But that's where it comes
I
from.
know. I must admit, you contributed something to this world.
But it comes with a
Unfortunately.
caveat, though. It comes with a caveat. It's not like, just get a cannon or whatever. It's for Protestants only. The original
When
law.
Catholics can't own guns. Ugh.
Well, they can now, but they couldn't in 1689.
Now they can.
I mean, there was reasons for that because they were the ones who were the terrorists at the time, and they were trying to usurp Parliament and bring about an absolutist regime in this country. So you can see why they banned it. Not that I agree with it, but you can see why they banned them. But it only said
To
you
be
have.
fair, Oliver Cromwell basically ran England, like how John Calvin ran Geneva. So I can't really say these sides are morally equivalent.
But the right to bear arms in the Bill of Rights was to bring it back for Protestants because they'd lost it for many years. And another reason was, but there's a caveat to it, which I was trying to get to, was that you only have the right to bear arms within the limits of what the law actually is. So you can only own a weapon by the laws of owning weapons. So you have the right to bear arms, but only by what that law is. So, like, for example, in the medieval era, where people thought, you can just get a sword and wear armor or whatever, wherever you went. Nope. In real life, what actually happened was, you could, I guess in the country, wear armor and carry your swords wherever, but once you entered the city, you had to basically put that in the box, keep it in an inn, and go about in clothes. You had to be unarmed because that was the law of the cities back in the day. And you could own, and certain classes of people could own certain weapons. So like you could own a crossbow, I guess, but then the higher up you go, and the more armor and weapons available to you, the more you could own, or maybe even less. So it really does depend. And back in those days, in the 1689, it would have been, smoothbore matchlocks, basically, that you were allowed to own. If you were a Protestant, that is. If you're Catholic, you weren't allowed to own it. But
Damn.
And then obviously that was, but then after a long time though, up until about 1880 in this video, I think it might have been 1870. We didn't actually have a law that regulated powder and things like that, and bullets and guns. So you could almost buy anything that you wanted at almost any age. But
Like cannon?
Not a cannon, no, not like that. It was more like you could buy a revolver and things like that from a shop and be 14 years old. And the reason why we changed it in the 1880s was because kids were getting guns and messing with them and causing trouble, basically.
Accidentally killing one another?
Yeah, but then it escalated, and
into like gang war?
No. I mean the law basically got more and more stricter as it went on.
Oh.
In fact, it was Thatcher that killed it in this country. The right to bear arms, I'd say. She killed it because there was a mass shooting. It was like the last one we ever had. At least maybe that wasn't terrorism related, she banned certain firearms basically, even though it was the only one in like years and years and years. But that's all they need. They just need one. That happened in Australia too. They had quite a lot of gun rights until one incident, and then that changed. And then in New Zealand they've had that as well, didn't they? With Tarrant, whatever his name is, the eco-fascist cunt. He does the one mass shooting that they've had for years and years and years. And Prime Minister
Well,
Ardern
you mean Christchurch?
yeah, Christchurch. Basically, it basically turned them into a police state for about a couple of months. Yeah, Dunblane massacre. Yeah, wiped out most gun ownership in the UK, and that was the Iron Lady that all the people on the right love so dearly and think she was for liberty and stuff. Is like, no, she really
You don't
wasn't.
like Thatcher?
No, of course I don't. Why would I?
Well, to be fair, you are a northerner. What should I have expected?
It's not just that. It's not just that. There's many things about her that's authoritarian and illiberal that I don't like about her.
What are you talking about? She was a neolib.
Doesn't matter. Neoliberals aren't particularly liberal.
How are they not?
Well, why is it that she destroyed gun ownership in the UK? Was basically her economic policies were really poorly thought out because she basically created an underclass in this country that is causing issues to this day. Because it wasn't entirely her fault with the in terms of the origins of the problems with the nationalised industry and stuff like that. But what she did to fix that issue caused more issues.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, she made them more dependent on welfare and things like that, and they weren't getting retrained and things like that. There was other things that she failed.
Once she destroyed Northern Industry?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, and she didn't replace it. Everything went down south. That's her fault.
All the way down south in the land of traders.
And there's other things, like she was very authoritarian when it came to protests and stuff like that, as well. Like,
I hear people tell me that like if you're a Tory in the North back in that time era, you could get the shit kicked out of you. Is that true?
Not the shit kicked out of you. I'm not sure about that, but you wouldn't be well liked.
Okay. Pub goers wouldn't like you.
Well, I don't know about. I wasn't alive at the time, so I'm only 26.
Well, you grew up in the North, so you have a better perspective on that.
Well, nobody gets beat up for
presumably
that.
You have
Nobody gets beat up for
parenthood.
that. Nobody gets beat up for that. People just look down on you.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, she's not the. Oh no, there was another one in the 80s before Dunblane though. Oh yeah, it was John Major.
Oh.
There was another one in the 80s that she definitely did. I forgot what it was. It was
There's
in Scotland.
Also, Tony Blair is supposedly Scottish.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He doesn't sound like it.
You don't have to sound it to be it.
I don't know. Like whenever I heard him speak, I was like,
because he grew up in a public
Scottish.
school. That's why a lot of people in posh schools in Scotland, they make you speak with C pronunciation.
They do.
Yeah. I've met somebody who's Scottish who talks like that because she went to a private school.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why they do it. They just do. It's a weird cultural thing. It's not everywhere.
That I go to doesn't make you speak in a certain way.
Well, in certain countries, they do make you speak a certain way.
That's stupid.
Again, it depends what school you go to. She went to a very, very posh school. But yeah, the Bay New Zealanders didn't give the guns to the government, so that's good. So that it's people like Ardern and thingy, Justin Trudeau, that makes me question AA's thing that Generation X is the best generation. Like some of the worst politicians are Gen X at the moment.
Yeah, but to be fair, Andrew Yang is Gen X and he's pretty nice.
Well, you think he is because you're biased.
I think.
Well, I think he'd just crash the economy, but whatever.
Whatever. He has the best plan to tackle climate change. I'll tell you that. The most reasonable approach.
I don't know.
For one, he actually wants to use nuclear power,
which I do agree with. Funnily enough, Corbyn wanted to use it as well.
I'm voting for Corbyn. Corbyn needs to here now.
So does Boris. Like that was the
only.
Well,
change my mind. Back to Boris.
See, that was the only decent thing about the entire Labour manifesto was more nuclear power, which by the way is probably the only thing that I would agree with that needs the state to produce, because it's just so expensive. Like who at the moment has the money to create a private nuclear network? I don't think many people do. I think you could probably count the amount of people who could afford to build a nuclear power plant on one hand.
Jeff Bezos. I don't know.
Bezos probably.
Michael Bloomberg.
In Britain alone, you'd probably only have like 2. So it's the government that's.
You don't have any billionaires. How many billionaires do you have there?
About 150. I don't know. It's not a lot. And we would have had none if if Labour got in, that would have been funny.
Whew, that's a scare.
Hey, I'm not being
But
a
it's fine.
commie.
So the billionaires would just move their assets.
I'm not being a commie though. Literally though, this is known that not a lot of people can afford nuclear power.
Yeah,
So it would probably have to be Alessio.
Yeah, I don't understand. I think the U.S. government should just own electricity.
Well, I don't
So
think they
people
should
don't have to
own
pay
it.
bills
You know, if you can afford to set up your own, set up your own. But nuclear power is so expensive; it's ridiculously expensive that probably only governments can afford it.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of your power being shut off by like a private company because you can't afford it. Because it's
Yeah.
like,
But
I just don't like that idea. I just there
if
are
you can't
some
afford
things
to
in the
pay
world
your
that
bills, you can't afford to pay your bills. Therefore, shut off. It's the way it is,
well,
mate.
it's not.
Yeah, but it's not fair. But if you can't pay it, don't
Man,
go.
what
go
about
with that
children who are
company.
in that situation? Oh,
Well,
now
again,
they can't do homework because they
Yeah, you
don't have
can-
access to the internet. Or whatever.
Just go to the library.
Again, transportation is a very
but-
is
Yeah,
shit
well,
in the
most
US.
people. Yeah, but most people don't have electric cars or buses. The parents can take
Yeah.
them there.
Well, gas is still where I live. Gas is cheap, but it isn't cheap everywhere.
No, it isn't. But again, that's the nature
They'd
of
walk
things.
to the library or carpool. I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry, Chad is what's his name? Chicago's typing in Numbag text chat.
What's he saying?
Walk to the library or carpool. You could, but closest library to me is not really in walking distance, although it's feasible, I guess.
I don't know. So
I just
or
ride a bike.
Yeah, ride a bike.
Riding, but yeah, I'll do that.
Again, there's internet cafes and stuff and things like that you can go to do your
You
homework.
know, the internet cafes aren't a thing in the U.S. If the library has public access, you could just go to the library for internet access, which is why I love.
Oh yeah, and
libraries.
that's the government owned the power grid. You would just be arrested. Well, at least the parents would be. It wouldn't be us if we were kids. We wouldn't be arrested.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing. Here's the problem with that Chicago Starbucks. I don't want to go there.
Alessio, I don't know why you're getting triggered. I'm not even bloody. What I'm talking about is just.
Oh,
the
I know.
reality of things.
He just suggested that I walk into a Starbucks, and I hate Starbucks.
Yeah, but
Their
Starbucks
coffee
has
is
free
shit
Wi-Fi.
and it's expensive.
Yeah, but just have one
You have
coffee.
to buy something.
Yeah, one coffee. You can stay there the whole day.
Fair enough.
You don't even have to drink the coffee. What is it like?
Okay,
it's like £1.50.
Get like a $1.
Yeah,
Get like a $1 cake pop.
yeah. Just get a filter coffee for like $1. Like, come on, it's not hard.
Yeah.
So anyway, question time was really.
I haven't seen anything about this. So
Well,
I
I've
would like
seen
some-
bits. So basically, there was this. I don't even know who he is. Lawrence Fox. He's just an actor, a British actor who he decided to take it upon himself to be our guy, I guess, on Question Time. So he was going up against the far left and people like that, and saying that. Oh well, I'll say that in a bit, Chadis, Maximus, aka Chicago. So basically, he was just doing the usual anti-SJW talking points, but from 2013. So he's not quite up there with
Yeah, I was gonna
with
say
the
it's like
the current thought. But he
white
basically-
privilege is racist. It's
Yeah,
like,
he
wow,
did,
where have
yeah.
you been?
Yeah, where have you been, mate? That's people have been saying that for years. But it was good to see people say that on normie TV for once.
Yeah, the
And he-
worst thing about it is the normiization of like the culture war is that the conservatives will take credit for destroying SJWs.
I don't
And
think they'll be
they
able
really do
to.
anything.
Well, it won't even be them in charge by the end of all of this anyway, because the old guard is on the way out on both sides, and new people are taking their places. But he got into a fight with this woman in the audience, verbal fight about Meghan Markle, and she was saying, it's the reason why all this has happened. We could get into that, but is racism, blah 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 blah, the usual stuff. And he goes, well, and then I think she mentioned white privilege, and that's where he got into that. And
Yeah.
and,
White privilege is such an American concept.
yeah, it is. It pretty much is. A lot of this stuff
That's
is
my main
American.
problem with it. It's really only makes sense if you're an American.
Again, like the reason why a lot of the stuff about Meghan Markle is it's because she's black is an Americanism, because when I was growing up, Meghan Markle wouldn't have been referred to as black. She would have been called mixed race because that's what she is. But now she's called black. Loads of people are calling her black and things like that. It's like, but she's not.
Yeah, that's my main problem with like critical race theory in general. It's just like, you can't apply it outside
It's
the
the
US.
one drop rule. The Americans came up with the one drop rule, and that's infiltrating British culture. Like, no, this is not how these things work.
As much as a lot of Eurofags would hate that I say this, but in many ways they want to become Americans, and one way
Well,
is just like importing American race theory or whatever, critical race theory.
Well, thankfully, I don't want to be American. I'm very much against Americanization.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk like you. I don't want to live like you. You know, I want to live my own way. But
that's what happens when America is the world hegemon.
not necessarily.
Not only do you get the good stuff, you get the bullshit too.
Well, there are ways to cut out the bullshit, but it's just and they're even now beginning to use liberal in your sense, and that's not how it should be used ever, because that's giving a victory to the progressives because they appropriated that term for political power. That's what they did, and now that I'm beginning to see people, even like David Starkey, people who should know better, who should be educated on political philosophy, are using liberalism when they mean progressivism, socialism, whatever. It's like, no, that's not what you mean, because by the definition, the classical definition, he is a liberal and whatever. And like, it's just getting really annoying.
Yeah, that's how I operate for a while. It's like, oh, these goddamn libertards. But it's like, oh wait, I'm actually pretty liberal myself. Even when I was a conservative, I was like, oh, I have quote unquote classical liberal positions.
Although in America, that's basically whatever the Democrats are. No, because liberal in America is far left at this point.
Yeah,
because you lot keep letting them use that term when they shouldn't.
Yeah, I hate when people ask me it's like, oh, identify as liberal. They look at me, I'm like, and then I have to immediately clarify.
And by the way, when people use that, I was actually once somebody was talking to another person I was with, and so, oh, you do well done calling out the liberals. This is a British guy, by the way. And so, well, you do realise you're not referring to liberals. You know, you're not talking about people like John Stuart Mill and David Hume and John Locke and. Well, I had to say that.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not finished yet though. And then he goes, oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. So they're using this term in this American way, even though they know that that's not what they're referring to. It's just this weird thing. I just can't stand it.
Also, did you know John Stuart Mill's books
Alessio,
were banned
none
by
of
the
this
Catholic
stuff comes
Church?
from Sweden and Europe. It comes from America. This is all from bell hooks, the American Communist Party, stuff like that. It all comes from American universities. It just ends up over here through cultural exchange.
Yeah, I understand, dude. As you know, at the same, a lot of like Europeans and Anglos will like criticize American culture constantly for trivial reasons, but then they'll like adopt the worst aspects of American political philosophy and lenses, like i.e. critical race theory, like what we're talking about now. It's like, goddamn.
The Frankfurt School.
If you're going to adopt our ideology, don't adopt the bad parts.
Well, the thing is, right, the Frankfurt School didn't really have that much of an influence, though. It's been overstated. Like, just watch the videos of Prince of Queens, and he'll explain. Well, rest in peace, mate. But he actually explained that it's actually, rip. It didn't really have that much of an influence, really, on the progressive thought. It really didn't. They were even. I don't even think they were actually cultural Marxists. I think really that thing was invented in America. I mean, I guess they laid the groundwork, but it didn't infiltrate European intellectual thought until much late, until it went to America and then came back to us, I guess. No, Mill was not a social democrat, but
John Stuart Mill was not a sock dem.
No, he wasn't. He really wasn't. I mean, you would call him a social liberal, but you know, I wouldn't call him even social. Really,
did you know John Stuart Mill's books were banned by the Catholic Church?
I did not know that. But he was definitely for a free market and stuff like that, so I don't see him as a social democrat.
He was on the list of
No, the French
books.
do not have better liberals. It's the French version of liberalism that created socialism, communism, fascism, things like that. That's where it comes from. The French have the worst form. It's
Wait,
English
French
form
religion
that's
created
superior.
communism?
French version of liberalism, so like Rousseau, not Montesquieu. So it's Rousseau. It would be people like
Voltaire.
Voltaire, yeah, Voltaire, the Marquis de Sade, people like that. It's them who, I mean, the goal is the same, liberty, but how they go about trying to create liberty actually created totalitarianism, because they were the ones who into social contract theory and using the state to do these things, and well, the English were not, and the Scottish. It was really English and Scottish Enlightenment. It was we were against that, and it was the French liberalism that won, basically, and that created the groundwork.
Thanks, Napoleon.
Well, yeah, thanks. Well, even without him, it would have spread, because it's very tempting to use this powerful apparatus known as the state to do things. And yeah, actually, Germany did have some of the best liberals. Actually, like the rule of law as a concept was, ironically enough, as it was being destroyed in Germany, in terms of theory, they actually pushed it to its very, limits.
What
to its,
concept are you talking about?
The rule of law.
Rule of law.
Yeah, the Germans
I think it's something
actually pushed it theoretically. They improved upon it, because it was to do with limiting administration as well as just legislation.
I mean, I don't think French liberalism is as bad as you're describing, but
No,
I
it
certainly
really
prefer
is.
to English liberalism.
It really is. It really. Once you read it, you realise just how bad it actually is.
Okay.
Trust me. Again, the end goal is the same, but how they go about trying to reach that end goal actually creates totalitarianism. Basically, there's a whole chapter
I
on
think
it.
it's just the eternal drift between Anglos and the continent.
Again, it depends. It depends where you are in the continent, though, because the Dutch weren't like that, and the Swiss are definitely not like that, and definitely some of the German states were not like that.
What do you mean the Swiss weren't like that? They use the state to do a lot of things.
No, they have a direct democracy though, and things like that.
Yeah, but they have like socialized healthcare and stuff.
But I don't know.
I don't know. Well, to be fair, you guys do too.
We don't have direct democracy here.
No, I'm talking about healthcare.
What do you mean healthcare? I'm confused.
Like government finance healthcare.
We do. We also have private as well.
Yeah, but it's just that like would you say that concept of like a government run?
Wait, so hang on a sec, Leslie. So Bastian Cantillon are better than Adam Smith. They're better than who else? Well, he wasn't an Anglo, he was a Scottish, but whatever. They were better than David Hume. They were better than who else? Who else is English? That's pretty damn good.
Mill.
Locke. No, he doesn't like Mill.
Locke.
There was not Bentham. Who's the other guy that poemed Adam Smith on usury? I forgot who it was. Basically saying that why should there be a limit? But I forgot who it was. I've got so many. I'm blanking on the word names now. But even though I like Bastia, technically Cantillon was Irish, so he's actually an Anglo. Cantillon was Irish actually, so he's part of the English tradition. There we are. So Cantillon technically defeats your point, Alessio. He wasn't actually French.
Get right.
And he doesn't come from that tradition though. That's the thing. He comes from the English, Scottish, Irish, British tradition. So anyway, what else?
What about American contributions to liberalism? What do you think?
And
of
as
those?
British Knight clearly says, French-style classical liberalism is strictly anti-religion and pro-big government. So Alessio, you don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about You're talking about economics. We're talking about liberalism.
The French, we love and hate the Catholic Church.
Yeah, he also lived in London, Alessio.
I'm trying to think.
Doesn't matter. He's still not from the French tradition.
A lot of people have lived in Paris. Ernest Hemingway lived in Paris. What's your point?
Well, he by the end of his life, he was actually mainly living in London and things like that. Cantillon.
Yeah. What do you think about American contributions to liberal political philosophy?
Well, technically they were English, weren't they? So Benjamin Franklin. Who did the Federalist Papers again?
Thomas Paine?
No, he didn't do that. It was Hamilton and people like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was Hamilton.
They did all right. They're okay.
But authors James Madison,
Edmund
Alexander
Burke.
Hamilton, and John Jay.
I know people consider him he was basically a liberal, but more conservative.
Yeah, Edmund Burke.
Edmund Burke, better than most of the French. Well, better than all of them. And Tocqueville was basically an English liberal. He wasn't a French liberal, I can tell you that. Montesquieu was also not based heavily in the French thing, even though they were French.
Yeah.
Basically, English liberalism is better. And that's why a lot of French liberals actually were more anglicised than Francophile, but whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've got about 15 minutes left, so what do you want to talk about after this?
15? I don't know.
Was there anything else that's been going on?
What's going on in the news? I don't know.
Well, we can talk about... I can give you a rundown on the Meghan Markle thing and Prince Harry if you want.
With them leaving the royal family?
Yeah, they're basically going to leave the royal family.
Yeah, I know that.
And so anyway, for those of you who don't know, basically, what has happened is he's married this rich Hollywood celebrity, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle. They've had a kid, and basically everything was rosy, I would say, at the beginning. You know, oh, Harry's finally going to settle down, he's going to have a lovely wife, they'll have kids, and they're going to do the royal duties together, it's all going to be grand, right? Well, the problem was, that's not how Markle wanted it to be. Like, basically, from what I can gather, it's really tabloid stuff, isn't it? But it's interesting, because it's not just that, but you also see the culture clash and the political clash as well. Basically, Meghan Markle wanted to be a royal and get into the system, because it's basically an institution. It's not just this family. They're an institution. They have employees, they have duties, they have a culture all of their own to do things a certain way, because also we, the British public, expect them to do things as royals and as an institution.
I hate monarchy so much. It's so
it's
fucking
bad.
useless.
It's bad, but whatever. You know, we're a constitutional monarchy, so it's symbolic. But unlike a lot of the continental ones that are still around, who are basically, they really are nothing. They basically walk around with the plebs as if they're just plebs. You know, they don't do any of the pomp and circumstance that ours do. They don't go around, you know, doing diplomatic missions and things like that. Like, you know, the Queen.
The Dutch king just walks around and talks to people all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a very down to earth person. Actually,
he is, which is fair enough. I mean, there've been English monarchs that have done the same thing, but they still know that, you know, the next day they have to go to, I don't know, America to talk to the president or something like that. I mean, the Spanish king is kind of like that too, but the British royal family is very much, you know, they have a political thing as well as a symbolic thing, and they have their jobs to do diplomatically, and that means there's a certain etiquette, there's a certain thing you have to do, and she didn't want to do that, Meghan Markle. What she wanted to do was to have her cake and eat it too, as a famous French aristocrat wanted, if you know who I'm referring to.
Marie Antoinette.
Marie Antoinette. So she wanted to still live her life as a Hollywood celebrity and do all the things that they do, the cringy stuff that they want to do, while also being royal. But unfortunately, you can't do that. Like, I don't know if you saw Sargon's video, but basically, once you enter that institution, that's your life. That's your job in many ways. I mean, you can have your day job, you know, like William used to be a rescue pilot and Harry used to be in the army, but once you get your title and things like that, that is your job, and you have to, and you have to conduct it a certain way. So she didn't want to do that. She was trying to change it as well, and she clashed with the Queen, because whatever the Queen says goes, as we all know. She is the matriarch of the family. She's the number one. And Meghan Markle was trying to change it. She was also trying to politicize it as well. So, like, you know, going on about, you know, climate change and things like that, and politics, and using the platform to express these views was a big no-no. I mean, you know, she was saying, as a Duchess of Sussex, blah 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 blah. It's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And then not only that, there was certain things she was doing in like royal functions that was angering people. Like, they seem like really little petty things, but it's basically like being unprofessional, isn't it? So,
I mean, this would be like if the Emperor
holy
of
shit,
Japan...
when did you come back?
Sorry,
go on. I was being silly. Go on.
This would be like if the Emperor of Japan like went to a Buddhist shrine and pissed on the statue.
I wouldn't go that far, but I know what you mean. Well, she was making funny faces.
It would set a it would actually get a similar reaction,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Like, there would be a lot of disavowing.
Well, imagine if his cousin or whoever, his nephew's wife was making weird faces and doing weird things to the crowd, even though she thought she was being
Yeah.
funny and stuff. Like, you just don't do that, you know.
Yeah,
And
you don't do that at the Royal.
It's the
You have to
little
be
things.
stoic.
It's those little things and the big things that pile up, and then eventually, I guess they clashed because clearly the Queen wants them to take the job seriously and to stop causing issues in the family, because I think she was also a bit of a toxic influence. So she was falling out with Kate and William, and she's got to deal with the failing health of Prince Philip as well. And so she can't handle this person coming in here causing drama in the family. And I guess it's gotten to the point where they've had to decide, okay, so do you want to be a royal with all the baggage that comes with that and the duty and responsibilities, or do you want to be a normal person, just a celebrity couple? What's it going to be? And I guess she has managed to, well, as people say, pussy whipped Harry into giving up his royal titles. Now, I don't know if that means he's no longer in line for the throne if the worst comes to worse and William.
My God, this
dies
is
or
like King Edward VIII, but a second time.
No, it's not. Oh yeah, Edward VIII. I thought it said Henry for a second. Then yeah, it is.
No, Edward. Yeah,
it is Edward. It is exactly.
Well, my thing is, it's just like, if I was Prince Harry, I'd fucking leave, because I don't give a shit about that stuff.
Well, that's you, but he was born
yeah.
into
You're
it.
also, you're also not having your mother being the Queen of England. Well, grandmother technically, right?
To me, it would just be so tiring, because it's like,
Well, yeah, but
fucking...
that's the job you have to do. I mean, there are other royals who haven't given up their titles, but they have a lower key role. Like I think the Queen's like cousins and her daughter, like her side of the family, they have a very low key thing. They don't really.
Yeah, I mean, her daughter just does some royal functions for the Royal Academy of Music.
Yeah,
I think.
Like they could easily have done that. They could have had a low key role, but I guess because But I guess because he's also second born of the heir apparent, it's a bit different. But there's no reason.
So yeah, what have we learned today? Don't have the British royals marry Americans.
That's exactly what I was saying. Why is it's 100% fail record?
No. Here's a better lesson. Don't have a monarchy.
Well, there's that.
No, the monarchy is fine.
Well, we're stuck with them at the moment anyway. So
shut the fuck up, monarchist.
Well, I'm not a monarchist, am I? So
I was talking to Chicago.
I don't think even
I
Chicago
support the
is.
monarchy continuing.
So what does the Japanese monarchy do out of interest? What do they? They're symbolic now. They're not even divine. Which is a shame.
They do a lot of ceremonies and they meet with foreign dignitaries, but other than that, they don't really do much else. It's sort of like how the British royal family does things, but with less influence.
Because you know what people love the Queen for, like, she's doing all her duties and stuff. Well, there's that, but
The emperor is more a sign of stability than anything else.
Well, she could actually. Part of the thing that a king and queen can do in this country is they can actually talk to the different, parties and stuff like that, and quell any problems that have been going on. Like this, one of like King George, and one of his predecessors. I think it might have been either his granddad or Edward VII. They would like try and fix any of the splits, like big political divisions that are going on between the elites and things like that. Like, look, pick a course, start fighting, things like that. They wouldn't affect legislation or anything, but they would try and get people to,
Wait, the Japanese
together,
emperor doesn't do that, especially as the government is no longer done in his name.
So
it's not His Majesty's government anymore.
Yeah, so like she can still it's not interfering. It's just getting them to get their asses in gear, basically.
She could technically just say vote of no confidence if she really has problems with them.
No, I don't know if she can do that. But
well, don't all of the governments form the government in her name?
Yeah, but
it is done with her good grace.
Yes, but that's more of a symbolic thing than anything. She has certain powers.
She did do that in Australia.
True, yeah, but again.
Well, no. What happened in Australia? She didn't do that. She didn't do it personally. The Governor General of Australia did. But the super technical of this thing is yes, through her name. The Governor General met with the prime minister.
So
said,
again,
"Go fuck yourself."
there
had a
is the
snap election.
precedent for this.
Yes.
But well, in Australia, but not here. That's the difference. But she
And
usually
on
just,
his,
is
but
in
the thing,
Britain,
but
it's
what happened
never
in
happened.
Australia was a really, 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 really rare case.
yeah, wasn't it like they couldn't get a form of government? Was
It was completely deadlocked. They
Yeah.
couldn't form a government.
Yeah, that's what it was. So they just dissolved it and started again. I think had a new
Yeah, the
election.
government.
Yeah. So it would be like just another snap election.
How many people need to die for Mitch to become king? I'm not related to okay.
Quite a few.
I'm not related to the royal family, but I share as like a common ancestor going back thousands and thousands of years. Like it's a phenotype
me,
or whatever, you know.
For me, I'm descended from nobility, just not Japanese mainland nobility. So it would be a few tens of thousands of
So
people
apparently
dying for
me
me
and
to
Prin-
become emperor of Japan.
Yeah, so apparently me and Prince Philip, we share a common ancestor that goes back like it's basically this ancestor created this. What do they call it? It's not a phenotype. It's a gene.
Genotype?
It's kind of like a genetic tree. So we're part of the same genetic tree, but we're not actually related. You know. I guess we're like 1,000 times cousins or something. I don't know. Basically, but everybody is.
Well, you could. I'm not really. I don't think I'm descended of any royalty. I am descended. I am descended of people from the Mayflower. Though.
It did say that I'm related to Irish royalty, but they seem almost mythical.
Oh, my great-great-grandfather was one of the minor nobles in Okinawa.
Ooh.
So
Wax on, wax off.
I'm a descendant of one of the vice presidents, but I won't say who.
I'm going to say it was Truman.
Yes.
Ah,
You got me.
the guy that Eleanor Roosevelt pwned and said, he's like, what was it? It was like,
I'm not actually his descendant.
Oh, damn it. Oh well.
Did you actually think that for a sec?
Yeah, I did.
No, that would
Bruh.
have stalked myself.
Haplotype. Thank you, Thurg. That's what it is. I have the same haplotype as Prince, but we're not actually related. So.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm a descendant of one of the vice presidents, so have fun figuring out which one it is.
And besides, technically, Danny Dyer could become King of England if he wanted to.
Danny Dyer? Who's
Yeah, the
that?
actor. He's an actor. He was in he was in a load of low budget British films, but he became quite popular. But he's actually a descendant of the Plantagenets, which were the royal family before the Tudors. He's a direct descendant. So if the Windsors were wiped out, he could become king if he wanted to.
Aren't there still some Tudors or Stuarts around now?
Well, the Tudors and Stuarts technically are the current royal family because I think William of Orange and also the House of Hanover were related to them to some extent. I don't know how it works, but yeah, they were all related. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but they're
well, the
of a
house.
different house. That's the thing.
No, I was gonna say, wasn't Queen Victoria of a different house? The House of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha?
Which was also
Yeah.
the House of Hanover.
You don't have
It changed
the
names.
House
No, it
of
wasn't.
Hanover is different.
No,
though.
It's completely different.
her direct grandparent was like George the Fourth, George the Third, something like that. Yeah, or William. Yeah.
Well,
She's part of the
no,
House
when
of
she
Hanover.
became queen,
It changed because we lost Hanover, basically. But the actual family name is that. The House of Hanover is Saxe-Coburg, whatever. Yeah.
Saxe-Coburg and Gotha,
Yeah.
also known as Windsor.
Yeah. They're all related.
that was
They're all-
changed during World War One.
That's their
because,
direct descendants, grandparents, uncles, whatever. Yeah. But like in terms of the Stuarts, William of Orange's wife, Anne, I think it was it Anne? Yeah, she was James's daughter, I think. Yeah, and then she was related also, and he was also related, William, to George the First. Yeah, so they're all related. Yeah. It was just cousins fighting each other for the British throne over, are we going to be Protestant? Are we going to be Catholic?
Dude, why not be both?
You can't be both.
Yes, you can.
Well, I guess in theory, but in practice, no.
Just marry one person to the other religion, and then the child will be bi-religious.
Well, I'm kind of glad that we didn't end up with the Stuarts as absolute, as an absolute monarchy, because we would never have had. We wouldn't. I don't think we would have had the history that we did. We wouldn't have seen the growth of the institutions we currently have now. Yeah, Mary Thurg. Thank you, not Anne. Mary. Yeah. Anne was the daughter. Yeah. Sorry. Whatever. You get confused.
Yelled into a tale that's true. The War of the Roses tore England.
But all I'm gonna say is that Richard III did nothing wrong. He was the one true king.
Oliver Cromwell did nothing wrong.
Well, in some aspects. But Richard III did nothing wrong.
He started a famine in Ireland. Oh, I don't care.
I don't think he started a famine. He did kill people, but
Somebody started a famine in Ireland, and that was a good thing.
No Step on Snack says Anglicanism is Catholic plus Protestant.
Anglicanism is Catholicism with divorce. That's it.
Kind of, maybe. The royal family should convert to Islam. Well, they reckon that the Black Prince was of Moorish descent. But,
did you know? Oh God, I can't remember which one, but like some royal somebody in the House of Liechtenstein married a black girl from Panama, and they had like a half black child. So like he could, if all hell breaks loose in Liechtenstein, he could become like the first black European monarch. That'd be kind of sick though.
We was changed.
We was changed.
I'm pretty sure that's already happened at some point. Somebody married a Moorish princess, and their
Did you know that
offspring,
several Roman emperors were also of African descent?
Well, they weren't by African. They were from the province of Africa. Wouldn't be the same thing as
Septimus
sub-Saharan.
Severus was actually from modern day Libya.
Yeah, but the Libyans then weren't the same Libyans as now.
Yeah, at best they're Berbers.
They were Numidians.
No,
that was before the Berbers.
No. What the Romans called Libyans, which we today now know as Berbers. The Berbers
actually.
The Berbers were there first, and then the Arabs came in.
The Berbers were descended from Ostrogoths. They weren't there yet.
No, they aren't.
Yeah, they are.
Do you mean Septimus Severus?
Yes.
He would not. He doesn't. He was not the kind of Libyan that we, or even Berber, we would refer to today. A Libyan was completely different. They were more. They were.
He was Numidian, basically. That's the culture that was there at the time. Numidian.
They were basically. Well, depends by his time. They would have been more Greek or like Hellenized, I guess, to some extent. I mean,
well, by then, yeah, of course, because they were under Rome for 200 years by then.
he was also part Roman anyway, or at least Italian.
Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't call him an African emperor though. He wouldn't have probably called himself that. Leptis Magna was where he was from, which is I don't know what that would be now. It would be
in Libya.
Well, I know where it is, but I don't know what city it would be now.
It's not in any city now. It's just ruins.
Yeah, it's just ruins. Yeah, it's just such a shame, isn't it? Like all these massive cities that people used to live in, and now completely abandoned.
Yeah, like Camilo Donham now is just Colchester.
Did you actually know Shakespeare was a black woman? Well, we know he used to write poetry about one though. So
Shakespeare was a black woman.
One of the Yorks married a Spanish Moor princess who was descendant of Muhammad. Interesting.
Ooh.
I was actually told something about this, about being a descendant of Muhammad. If your name is Saeed, I think it is, or some other name, you're a descendant of Muhammad. That's what I was told by one of my old colleagues, and I thought that's very interesting.
Good thing you're not a good thing. My last name is Saeed.
Well, it's a very particular spelling as well. I think it's Said. So like the intellectual Edward Said, even though he was Christian, then again, not all of Muhammad's family were actually Muslim because he invented it, didn't he? So they wouldn't have been. He potentially could trace his ancestry to well, he's dead now, but you could trace his ancestry back to somebody down the line who was related to Muhammad, because we know he actually existed. Yeah.
This reminds me of one of my favorite jokes. Why can't Amy Winehouse drive?
Because she's drunk.
Because she's black.
No, because she's dead.
That's bleak. That's just bleak.
Why can't dead person do thing?
Because dead.
Because dead.
Ha! You may now laugh at the joke.
Please laugh.
Please laugh. Please laugh, chat. Press L to laugh.
Press L.
Anyway, I think we've been going on for a while now. I think. Oh, should we go with? Well, since Chicago's back, we'll take some.
Yeah, we can go a little
We'll
bit. We can
keep
make
going for a
exceptions.
little. Yeah, we'll make exceptions for you, Chicago, because you're back and we
Yeah.
love you.
Thank you.
So, like you were mentioning about, I forgot to mention this. As for privatized nuclear energy, you can have corporations like ComEd and stuff like that.
And PG&E, yeah.
I've never heard of them.
Okay, PG&E and ComEd are two of the largest energy companies in the U.S.
Okay.
And
fair enough.
actually, all of America's nuclear power plants are built by companies.
Oh.
They're not built by the government, so no, they are privatized.
Okay. Because just
Excuse me.
I remember reading and being told that it's so expensive that probably only governments can afford it. I'm not saying that
That's patently false in the United States, at least.
I don't know about it. I
Well,
don't know
to
what
be
it is
fair,
over
the
here.
government
though.
probably gives them like hella subsidies.
It is really expensive, though,
The-
and I wasn't saying that it should
government-
be.
The government pays, well, basically they contract out to the government for actual contracts for powering major cities. Cities are paid by the government. It's not really subsidized. Especially as once you actually turn on a nuclear power plant, it's pretty cheap to actually run,
But what,
as long as you have the actual coolant.
but what people need to realise is I'm not suggesting it should always be nationalised forever and ever and ever. I'm just saying at the moment
Obviously.
anyway.
Well, I'm also saying that depending on the country, sure. But for the United States, it's not needed at all. For Canada, it's not needed either.
Oh,
because
apparently Louis Farrakhan just got suspended on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
about time.
That
He's
seems
a
important.
terrorist.
Yeah, in many ways.
Well, I don't think he should have been banned off Twitter.
No, I think he should be, especially as it is Twitter's private property, so they can don't eject him if they want.
I mean, if he breaks the
Well-
rules, he breaks the rules, doesn't he? So
And he's been breaking the rules for a long time.
I'm gonna break your rules. Fucking see how you like that, huh?
Oh, well, Ebola
Alright,
Chan's
thank
trying
you.
to convince me that the French have a superior liberal tradition. Well, if you want more government intervention in your life, Alessio,
Cope harder, Alessio.
you're meant to be an ANCAP, dude, and you think the French have a superior liberal tradition. I'm just saying, you have your priorities mixed up.
You have your mixed up priorities.
What, me?
I don't know. I was just fucking saying stupid shit. I'm sorry. I need to stop doing that. It's not funny. I don't know why I do it.
Hayek was right. Because I just read, ages ago, I just read that chapter in Constitution and Liberty about the differences between French and English liberalism. But loads of people say that anyway. Like, this is a well-known fact that people like Rousseau and not Montesquieu. Who else is it? There was Rousseau. Then there was de Sade and Voltaire and
There's only one good thing that has come out of French liberalism, and it's the
Tocqueville.
Orthodox School of Economics, which was Smithianism, but
yeah,
even
he's
more
confusing
deregulated.
the economic side of things with the philosophical side of things, though. So he's mentioning Bastiat and to a lesser extent Cantillon, who was also Irish.
Stop talking about that, huh?
I know.
Bastiat and Alexis de Tocqueville are honorary British. Changed my mind.
Well, I don't know what Bastiat's political philosophy was, but I know.
Well, Bastiat live in London, as Mitch previous said.
No, Cantillon. I said,
Cantillon. Oh, sorry.
but I don't know.
Right,
Maybe
I'll-
Bastiat did. I don't know, but
There's also Jean-Baptiste Say, but he's also honorary British.
oh yeah, yeah.
Jean-Baptiste Baptiste.
Basically, all the best French liberals are influenced primarily by the English
Yeah,
and the Scottish.
they were British educated.
Oh well, I wouldn't say educated.
Essentially.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
They back then, education was basically reading books. So no, they technically were British educated.
I mean, de
because
Tocqueville
all of
married a
their
Brit,
influences
so-
are British.
I mean, de Tocqueville married a British woman, so there's that.
Yep. He also actually did most of his work in the United States.
His
In
biggest
France,
Yeah,
all
work,
he
wrote that
did
one
was
big
just
book,
complain that
Democracy
the
in
monarchy
America.
still exists.
well, most of his work
Yep.
was in France because he became like a cabinet minister for a few governments, and I think maybe he worked for Napoleon III. I don't
His
know.
literary works are actually mainly done in the United States and then published in France.
Yeah, no, Stefan Sneck. Yeah, he was he was the OG post-colonialist. Yeah, but I'm just pointing out that his name, he probably has ancestry there. That was the point of using him as an example. But yeah, the French don't have a superior liberal record.
Yeah, the Anglo-American liberal tradition is far better.
Mm-hmm. Again, if you believe in no government intervention in people's lives and the economy and stuff like that, don't go with the French tradition.
Who's better, Condorcet and Rousseau, or Adam Smith?
That's
and
it, Condorcet I was thinking of.
Yeah, Condorcet is just Rousseau but worse.
And then
Changed
you've
my
got
mind.
Babeuf, who's the OG socialist. Yeah. I mean, well, the French Revolution was full of different factions. You know, the ones who were more classically English in their liberalism.
Well, yeah, there were the moderates and then the Jacobins.
Then there were the people who came out of the Jacobins who were even more extreme, and then there were people who came out of the moderates that were even weirder than them. Like, oh my god.
Then there's Robespierre, who's just being a meme with guillotines.
Well, they were all basically at it at one point or another.
He literally tried to make a religion out of the French Revolution too. What a meme! What an absolute lad!
Dude.
Actually, one of Tocqueville's best books was about the French Revolution. Well, I don't think he even
Also,
completed
when you
the second
said
half though.
when you also said that Edmund Burke is a liberal, I would say that he is not.
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, he basically
He's the
says,
father of Burkean conservatism.
But
that's a different thing than classical liberalism.
I would say he was. I would still say that he was. He has
Burke
to say,
was pretty opposed to change.
not really. Not even
Basically,
Burke was.
The best way to go and define classical liberal and conservative is see which person would take down the Torn laws. If they would take down the Torn laws, they're classical liberal.
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
wouldn't, they're conservative.
Captain.
Burke definitely would have not taken down the Torn
Yeah, yeah.
laws.
True.
So he is therefore not a liberal.
Well, he wasn't. He was for change, just really, really,
Yeah,
really, really,
incredibly
really
gradual.
slow. Yeah.
So that basically means he's not a high Tory, which
Yeah.
is not really a great benchmark for liberal.
High Tory gang. That used to
High
be a
Tory.
meme.
What are high
Tory
Tories
gang.
again?
Oh,
High
God.
Tories are the reactionary conservatives who want not to change. Well, who don't want things to, quote, progress forwards, unquote, but instead want to actually roll back to the, quote, good old days.
The days
unquote.
before the land enclosures,
Yeah.
which was basically English peasants becoming landowners. That's what the land enclosures were all about. It was the end of the estates, or at least the feudal estates, and they sold land to English peasants who became the new rich gentry, basically. At least the ones who were lucky, anyway. You know, who made the money. But I don't. I mean, what Burke, believed in though, like in terms of liberty and things like that, is pretty liberal though. You know, he isn't out of place with David Hume and Mill and people like that. You know, I would say in terms of what he believed in, like his principles. Anyway, yeah. I mean, he wasn't he pro-American as well? Pretty sure Edmund Burke was pro-American Revolution.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was part of the Scottish Enlightenment.
Oh, he was Irish, wasn't
Why
he?
was he
though?
pro-American Revolution if it was a...
Well, it was the principle behind it, and he wasn't the only one. I think most of the British elite was probably
Adam
in favour of it.
Smith and David Hume were also in favor of it.
I think Adam Smith had died by then, though.
Yeah, Adam Smith was dead by that
Adam
point, wasn't he?
Smith was alive in 1776.
But he died that year as well, I think. Oh no, Hume died that year, didn't he? Yeah,
Yeah.
Hume died that
Hume,
year. The best
Hume
mate.
basically voiced his favor for the American Revolution and then promptly died.
Did he really?
Pretty much.
Yeah, maybe he did. I mean, he died in August, so that was when things were heating up a bit, I'd say.
Yeah, so basically he got to see the Declaration of Independence and then see how George III reacted to it,
And then
sided with the
probably died.
Americans, and then died. What an absolute lad.
He's also a Scottish person who did a history of England.
He also gave us great allegories such as Hume's guillotine.
Apparently, he never married. What a Chad.
He wasn't completely cucked.
I'm married to my work.
You need to be a special type of Chad to willingly cut yourself.
Sorry, lady, but work. I have to write this chapter in the next couple of days.
Sorry, lady, but I'm more focused on my philosophy.
Oh yeah, Hobbes, of course, he influenced classical liberal thought, even though he was an absolutist.
Yep.
Although he was actually more probably
Hobbes-
closer to the French rationalists than Locke was in many ways.
Hobbes did a lot more influence on conservatism than liberalism, though.
True.
Academic Agent actually has a pretty good video on that.
I've seen that one, so good. By the way,
Yeah.
you know,
I actually did an entire presentation for a college class just based on that video.
you know Leviathan.
Got a 100%.
I read half of that, right? I
Oh
read
god.
a couple months. Well, the only half people ever quote is the bit that outlines his political philosophy. The rest of it's all bloody theology.
Yeah.
And I never knew that. Nobody ever told me that. So when I got to the second part, or volume, whatever it would be, he starts talking about God, and I'm like, what? What's this got to do with anything? Well,
God is great.
Well, keep in mind, this was right after the English Civil War.
I think.
Can you please not talk over me out the
Yeah, don't
Sorry.
do that. Well, actually, it had just ended. Yeah. He
Oh, the
was
stream
writing
just
it.
ended?
He'd written it during it,
Oh.
but then released it but published it afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love
It
pretending
makes
to
a
know
lot
what you're
of
talking
sense.
about.
makes sense for why he's talking about the God, like right after there was a civil war between Catholics and Protestants.
Yeah, like part 4. That's it, of the Kingdom of Darkness. Like, why the hell should I care about what he thinks about that stuff? So I got all the way up to part 4, and it's like, no, thank you. Sorry, Tommy.
Tommy Robbins. Remember that chant?
Does he? Yeah, I know. Does he have like any other works that are worth reading? Oh God!
By the
so
way,
many.
what's that? I haven't heard about Tommy Robinson in a while. What's he been up to?
He won an award recently for free journalism or something like that. A small award. It's nothing.
Can't wait for the Guardian to react to that.
British Knight. God is the big gay. God is a classical liberal. Changed my mind. I think he's probably more like Hobbes. I think than I don't know. At least the Old Testament God is more like Thomas Hobbes.
Yeah. New Testament God, though. He's more like John Locke.
Well, Jesus is more like John Lennon, isn't he? Really?
Jesus is
Imagine
Rousseau.
all
Choose my
Jesus,
mind.
the
Jesus was an
people.
SJW. But anyway, I think we've gone on long enough.
Dude,
What do you think,
was
lads?
though. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, I think we're good.
We could go
Yeah.
into that actually on a stream, talk about the Christian influence on like individualism and things like that. But
Ooh,
But not
as
right
a
now.
Christian here, I would be fine with doing that at a later
I've
date.
read. Have you read a book called? Is it The Birth of the Individual? Is it? Let me just double
I
check.
have not.
I think it is The Birth of the Individual. Of the individual. No, Making the Individual. Making the Individual. That's what it is. It's by a guy called. Oh, for God's sake! Hang on. I need to go on my orders for this, guys. Hang on a sec. On Amazon. Individual. It is by a guy called. Oh, for God's sake! I keep spelling it wrong. It is Inventing the Individual: The Origins of Western Liberalism by Larry Siedentop. You'll like that book because he goes through the Christian origins of it.
Ooh, nice.
So anyway,
That sounds interesting.
it is interesting. So Alkazai, last words.
I don't know. Andrew Yang 2020. That's my final words.
Disavow. Chicago, last words.
Babu Frick made episode 9 watchable. Changed my mind.
Which character was that?
The guy who only went like, hey, twice.
Oh, hey! Yeah, I remember that now, yeah. Oh no, I hate that film. And as for the rest of you, get out.
Get out.